There we go. Okay. It is that time. The science stream returns. 2 segments, no less. I have water here, or, well, iced tea, to, keep my gullet moist. Ooh, that ASMR. Hold on, I'm just gonna, let's see. Yes, good. Well, welcome into the science stream. I'm realizing I need a border for these sides. I don't have any. But yeah, the science stream is back. And a new segment. It took a while, but today's a perfect time because I don't have much time to stream, given practices and all that, but we have just enough time to cover these 2 things. I'm gonna give it a few more minutes just before we start. Did anyone see the Nintendo Direct? I did. I watched it while I picked up my while I was waiting to pick up my nephews. Good stuff. And most of it's like available today, so I can stream the Game Boy Zelda games because they're gonna be part of the thing. Minish Cap is going to be on there as of today. Oracle of Ages and Seasons will be later. So I have no shortage of playing Zelda games either, so we'll be good for that. What else? What else is there in the Direct? Oh, Pikmin. Oh, that was pretty fun. There's a little dog Pikmin too. Dogman. And there's a lot of stuff that I was just surprised in seeing. I was just more of like, oh, that's there. Neat. And somebody's playing Digimon World 4. Oh no. Well, with the science stream, I have 2 things lined up. One is the viewer request from Ribbons in chat. Oh, you have an underscore in your name. I did not... Here, actually, before we start, let me fix that. If I can... No, if I can... Hold on. Oh, no. There we go. Ribbons underscore. I have to get your name right. No. There's an imposter ribbon, so I had to use his underscore. Oh! The lore. Okay, now I can't move the title. What? No, come on. No. Okay, got it. Actually, let's move that up a little bit more. There we go. Hey Shalars, we will be starting in just a moment. I realized that I got Ribbon's name wrong. I missed the underscore. And I'm supposed to be a professional. But trust me, I'm the real Ribbons. I believe you. The other one hasn't shown up in chat, so ergo, he's not real. Or they're not real. Okay, yeah, so 2 segments today. The viewer request. And the new segment I'm trying out. Like, Ribbon segment, which didn't actually take long to make, because I'm well versed with it. Just finding tidbits here and there was a bit of time, but the other one, that one took a while because I had it pretty much done, but then I went over it and I felt like, okay, if I gotta really drive the point of what this one is about, I have to be more thorough, I have to really get into it. So I added a bunch more there. Refined it, reworked it, the whole 9 yards. Oh, wait, I'm a physicist, I shouldn't be using yards, I should be using meters. The whole 9 meters, which is, well, a yard is about 3.3 meters, so it would have to be like 27 meters. 28 roughly. 28 to 29 meters. That's about 9 yards. Oh, I should probably put... Okay, so I think I've babbled on enough. Let's see, which one are you? Here we are. That's not what it is. Okay, hold on. You were showing up earlier. Why are you not wanting to show up now? Okay, that's interesting. Hold on, let me try this. It really just was working just now. Oh Lord. What gives? Why is it? What? It was working just now. Like, I set up the stream, and it was fine, and now it doesn't want to be fine? Oh no. They don't want me to teach you. Who is they? You know. They. It's always them. Okay, there we go. That was weird. Why didn't I want to do that? Oh! My camera's gonna be covering part of that. Darn, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of where it's covering. Darn. I don't know what to do here. I'm right here. Hold on, let me just make myself a little tinier. There we go. More off to the side. There. And I should be tiny enough that I... Oh, nope. Let me lock... Hold on, let me just lock that in real quick so it doesn't move. Okay, yeah. Actually, that's all I need, that little square. I think I might keep it this way. Okay, hopefully this doesn't take up too much window space. I think it should be fine. Evening, Cat. Good to see you. It's been a while. Well, I know you've been busy with your various crafts and all that, but welcome in. We are doing the science stream. Okay, so let's get started. So the first one was requested by Ribbons _. Not to be confused with another guy in chat, or another guy on Twitch named Ribbons. And they requested Newton's Laws. Which is something that we use every day in our lives and we don't even know it. And here's a picture of Isaac Newton. Oh, Sir Isaac Newton. I forgot he was knighted. And the famous thing about the apple falling, and this is from This is a drawing of an arrow falling down, or a vector pointing downward with an apple. I've been extra busy. I've been attending rallies. That's good. Hopefully keeping safe. I know some rallies can get a little hectic. Okay, let's begin. So it's a basic overview of Newton. I mean, I could have just talked about the laws, but I want to go a little bit into Newton himself. He's a pretty interesting fellow. So, Sir Isaac Newton, because he was knighted, was born on Crimmon, 1642, and the 20th of March to 1726 or 27. Wikipedia has it that way because I guess there's some confusion as to which date or which years, but I don't know. So, Newton was described as an English mathematician, yes. Physicist, of course. Astronomer, true. Alchemist, I found that one interesting. Theologian, which is like theology, religion, and author, which is described as a natural philosopher. So the guy did a lot of stuff. He was the overachiever. But we know him as the Mac Daddy of classical physics. Why? Because his works and what he did pretty much defined what classical physics is, and sometimes you can hear it called Newtonian physics because like he was really good at what he did, and for the most part, it works. He also shares credit in making calculus with Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. And when it comes to calculus, there's a whole thing about whether Newton invented it or Leibniz invented it. Leibniz? I actually don't know how to say that guy's name. I mean, I only knew of Newton inventing calculus, but I guess someone else was working on it at the same time, independent of Newton. And they both kind of shared a consensus of ideas, but Newton's Leibniz. Oh yes, Gottfried Wilhelm Lesbian. There we go. Got it. So yeah, Leibniz. I was on the internet for a while, like, I don't know if it was people who didn't really know about calculus, but there was this whole, like, period of time where everyone was like, Team Newton or Team Leibniz. I'm Team Newton because, well, that's who I knew first. And he also helped create astrophysics with a famous light experiment. And by helped creating astrophysics, he was the more well-known person who... Well, he didn't discover spectroscopy necessarily. There were people before him that were working on it, but he just kind of expanded upon it. And spectroscopy is looking at celestial bodies, mostly stars, and seeing what elements they emit in the spectrum. He also formulated the law of gravity. And that's where the apple falling from the tree comes into play. I think that's a story that was told, but it's not a real event that happened. I think it's just something dramatized. I didn't really look into it that much. But most of all, he created the 3 most important laws. And he published them in what we call the Principia Mathematica. He presented his findings in the Principia Mathematica Philosophiae Naturalis, 1686 or 87. I saw one site say 86, I saw one say 87, so I'm just putting them both because it doesn't matter. It was in that time frame. 3 distinct laws were published. 3. And we call these the universal laws of motion. And these laws describe the relationship between objects, the forces acting upon them, and the resulting motion from that. Now, the reason we call these the universal laws of motion is because, honestly, for the most part, they can handle pretty much anything. We'll get into specifics as to where the laws don't necessarily work, because they're like, I say for our everyday lives and like what we're dealing with every day, Newtonian mechanics works great. Like, we don't need anything else. Once you start getting into very specific instances, then you start realizing, okay, these laws aren't going to work in this instance, but we luckily have found things to kind of explain that when we're going with those instances. He created the foundation for classical mechanics, or also known as Newtonian mechanics. Law of gravity also published, along with his input on calculus. Yeah, because the Principia Mathematica, I forgot to put up a picture of it. But it was basically just like a booklet of all of his findings. So it had gravity, it had his input on calculus, it has his laws of motion. Like, it was a collection of stuff that he'd worked on. So it wasn't just like, oh, here's my little thing, and then a little bonus. It was more like, okay, everything I've worked on is in this little packet. Read it, study it, you'll love it. So the first law is also called a law of inertia. And it's written as an object at rest remains at rest, and an object in motion remains in motion at constant speed and in a straight line unless acted on by an unbalanced force. Layman's terms, something won't change unless it's interacted with. So examples of the first law: a ball falling through the air. Gravity is a constant acceleration, so it's just going to fall. And something is causing that ball to just drop down. Another example is a rocket blasting off into space. You are introducing a force that propels you upward. You want to leave the atmosphere? You got to create a force to get you up there. A kite flying in the wind. When you're out in the park playing on a nice spring Sunday afternoon. Sounds about right. You have your little kite and you're like, ha ha ha, it's so much fun. Look at how much fun I'm having. And the wind is carrying the kite as it flies around and it dances and it looks amazing. Side story, I made a kite for one of my ROTC courses back in high school. I tried mapping it out, but I don't think it worked really well. It worked a little, but I mean, it was made out of paper and like some thin stick, so. You! Chat member. Don't move. No, don't move. I know what you're gonna do. Don't move. Because you are experiencing Newton's first law right now. You're sitting here watching this, right? Don't move. You're gonna try to prove me wrong. Don't move. You are simply at rest, watching this. And it's only up until you decide to get up to prove me wrong that you're sitting down, or you do something else that will introduce another force that'll make you move in a different direction. So you are experiencing Newton right now. Now we go to the second law. The acceleration of an object depends on the mass of the object and the amount of force applied. That introduces angular momentum. That's a little bit later on, but while you are at rest, you are rotating, and that's rotational mechanics. That's a whole other thing, although they're very similar to kinematics. So when it came to the second law, I learned it a little differently. I feel Newton, and it tingles. Ooh. Actually, I do have something to share about that later on. So the way I was taught this law was the sum of all forces acting on an object can be equated to the mass times the acceleration, otherwise known as F is equal to ma, where F is the force, m is the mass of whatever it is, and a is the acceleration it feels. So basically, yeah, it's just saying you can quantify all the forces that are acting on an object by F is equal to ma. And this also can describe objects at rest. Once again, chat member, you're sitting down, right? What is your acceleration? 0. So F equals ma would be 0. And this law only applies to objects with constant mass, so you, chat member, are made of mass. You weigh something, but mass is not weight. Also, PSA, when we're talking about mass, we're not talking about your weight. Because weight is mass times the force of gravity. But mass is how much stuff you are. How much of stuff is you. So when we're talking about mass, we're just talking about the stuff that is you. And when we get to mass that changes, like rocket science, where the rocket lifts up with all of its extra engine, or like firepower to get it up, it'll lose those pieces. And in that case, F equals ma doesn't really work because now we have the mass that is changing, which means that the acceleration and its velocity are also going to be changing. Examples of second law. Riding a bike. You can think of the bike as the object with your mass, and you, by pedaling, are providing the force that will make it accelerate. And I also already mentioned, you are experiencing Newton's second law too. And you can't break these laws. You can try, but you won't. Okay, third law. Whenever one object exerts a force on a second object, the second object exerts an equal and opposite force on the first. But what if the bike is stationary on the floor? Then what? Well, then your acceleration is 0. F equals ma is 0. I can just say that your acceleration is 0 because you're not moving. So, therefore, a force that you're applying is none. Although technically, I would say you're not applying force in a linear direction, because part of the second law is that you have... Actually, hold on. I will wait, because I will explain this, and that goes into the third law. But your legs are still moving. Oh, so you're talking about... Oh my goodness, they're over here screaming already. Jesus. I am trying to learn. Okay, so you're talking about a bike that is stationary, but you are moving your legs and it's not going anywhere. Well, then you're at the gym on one of those bicycles that you do cardio on. A fixed exercise bike, yes. So, I mean, those are designed not to go anywhere, and if they do, it's because you're putting a lot of force in and there's something superhuman. And you might want to look into that, because that's a little special. Okay, so, third law. Essentially, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So much science, or bad welding, yes. Okay, so I need to talk about this one, because I've seen a bunch of people online saying, like, well, you know, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. So if you do good in the world, then you'll get, or like it's usually associated with like a karmic principle, where like, oh, if you do something, you're gonna have an equal and opposite reaction. It's like, nope, stop talking. That's not how physics works. No, you're trying to make it metaphysical when this is actually physical. This is a physical quantity, not a metaphysical thing. Like, can you leave your like new age wisdom nonsense out of here? No, stop. As you can tell, I have very strong feelings about this. Yeah, please don't use science. Please do not use physics in the sense of like, oh well, the universe's energies are speaking to me, and if you put this action out there, it's gonna have an equal and opposite. Like, no, shut up, stop, cease. You don't know what you're talking about. Stop it. That's not how the universe works. Newsflash: the universe doesn't care about you. It doesn't care about any of us. It exists. We are the universe experiencing itself. That's as much new age sounding as I'm gonna get. Okay, examples of third law. A spinning ball. As you spin it, the air deflected is deflected to one side, but the ball moves counter to it. So, oh, here we go. Pokeball. You spin. As it's spinning, the air is being thrown that way, but the ball is moving that way. So it's like spin, 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 spin. Goes that way. Air is deflected, but ball's moving the other way. Oh my goodness, if she doesn't stop screaming. Cartoon characters, when they hit something hard and they reverberate from the impact. Oh, that's what I forgot to get, darn it. But you know, an old-timey cartoon, or Tom and Jerry, where like, Tom tries to hit something, or Jerry with a thing. He strikes something and then it like, goes back and hits him in the face. That's Newton's third law. Because he is striking at something with a certain force, and if the thing is more sturdy than the object that's impacting it, it's just gonna send it right back. Third law. You, chat member. right now you're doing the same thing too. You're also experiencing the third law. How, you ask? Well, if you're sitting in a chair, think about what the chair is doing. The chair is stationary, right? But the chair is experiencing gravity because you are on the planet Earth and you are experiencing gravity as well. However, there is well, as gravity points down, on any surface, there is always a normal force that points perpendicular to it. What we call a normal force. Yes, you Omega. See you. You are experiencing all of Newton's laws and you cannot escape. I'll let you teach, Sensei. Oh, I don't have the Sensei glasses. Dang it! I knew I was missing something. But yes, gravity is pushing down onto the floor, but the floor is also pushing up because you're not facing through the floor. The floor is also pushing a normal force up to you, and it's saying, well, you're pushing down? Well, guess what? I'm going to push right back up. And therefore, you have weight going one way, and the normal force going the equal and opposite way. And if we're using a Newton's second law, which is F is equal to ma, you could say the normal force minus weight, because it points up and weight points down, is equal to 0. And if you solve for n, the normal force, you find out that n is equal to the weight. Third law. We cannot escape Newton's laws. And bonus! Tell me, do you believe in the force of gravity? I know I had to use JoJo in here. Once I realized that this was something that was needed to be put in here, I knew what I had to do. Although in JoJo it works a little differently, but principle's the same. Gravity, the fundamental force of nature. And what that means is that it exists everywhere. And gravity is one of the 4 fundamental forces. Gravity, electromagnetism, the strong nuclear force, and the weak nuclear force. Now, electricity and magnetism and gravity share very similar concepts in terms of their equations. And the strong and the weak nuclear force are more for when we're dealing with atoms and that size. Fun fact, physicists have been trying for a good while to do something called the unified theory, which is they want to have these 4 fundamental forces be explained by one thing. But so far we haven't really been able to get there because I think the strong and weak nuclear force don't gel well with electricity and magnetism. But that's just more about scale. Oh, thank you for the follow, Butterbean, the cat. But it's the theory of gravity. Oh yes. Okay, so good point, Ribbons. So you're gonna hear scientists say a lot that oh well, gravity's just a theory. Evolution's just a theory. So the cultural use of the word theory is not the same as the scientific use of the word theory. In science, when we say something is a theory, we are saying that it has been tested multiple times over multiple instances, and we have come to the consensus that this is a certified idea. Whereas in the more cultural way, theory is like, oh well, theory is just a guess. No, hypothesis is a guess. Theory means that it's a tried and true thing that has been verified, and you can say, okay, this is a fundamental, like this is a established fact. Butterbean says that they'll watch the VOD. Oh, okay, no worries. Thank you for popping in. And we call this F is equal to G, M1, M2 over R squared. Now, what are these wacky little letters, you may ask? Well, G is a gravitational constant, which is 6.67 times 10 to the minus 11 Newton kilogram meters per second squared. No, Newton kilogram meter squared per second squared, if I have that correct. Where M1 is the mass of one object, M2 is the mass of the other object, and R is the distance between said objects. So examples of I meant to correct that as gravity. Hold on. Pay no attention to what I'm doing. There we go. See, it was always like that. So example of gravity is the moon on the oceans. The moon has an effect on the tidal waves here on Earth. And the thing about gravity is that, well, yeah, it depends on the mass of the object and the distance. But distance is a greater factor in gravity than mass is. So while we are orbiting the Earth, while we on the planet Earth are orbiting the sun, because the sun has a pretty good gravitational pull, the moon is closer to us than the sun, for good reason. So the moon's gravity will have more of an effect on certain parts of the planet over the sun will. Oh, but there actually is something called precession, which is... Let me grab my little Pokeball again. Where, I mean, the Earth is like at a tilt this way. You know, wait, is he, you know? So it rotates, but however, the moon and the sun do a wobbling effect because of the gravity. And that's called precession, and it takes 13,000 years for the wobble to complete one cycle. So that's an example of how gravity is affecting our planet based on the size of a massive object, but also the distance of an object that is less massive than the Earth and the Sun, but is closer. And does a little wobble. And actually for the next segment, I think I know what I'm going to talk about, and I will talk more about precession there because it actually has something to do with said thing I'm going to be talking about. I thought I fixed this as well. I duplicated one slide many times because I had all the settings set on one slide, so there, we'll just put JoJo. Oh, no. Okay. Another example, you with the Earth. Gravity here is 9.8 meters per second squared, or 32.2 meters per second squared if you're a filthy imperialist measurement user. Metric is best. Just use metric. Geometric. Good drag queen. So while you are feeling a force of gravity from the Earth, you also have your gravitational pull. So you, next to any object, you have a gravitational pull towards it, but you don't feel it because the gravitational pull of the Earth is much greater. And also your mass compared to the Earth is very tiny, so this force is going to be very, very small. But even in the far reaches of space, where there's just space dust and gas clouds all around, even they feel gravity towards each other. And eventually they start bringing it together. And that leads into the stars. Ooh, that would be a great drag queen concept. Yeah, Kind does math. I did not know that, and I'm glad she does. If I could get her, oh my gosh, if I could get her here on stream one day, I would lose my mind. Because we would just do math stuff together. It'd be great. Ooh, I wonder what her thoughts on non-Euclidean geometry are. Okay, so I threw a law of gravity in there. And also this is gravity because that's a My Hero Academia reference. I don't know if anyone caught that. So, Newton's works, well, what's the significance? Like, why is what he did important? Easy. Newtonian physics works for anything non-relativistic. And by I mean non-relativistic, it just means things not going near the speed of light. So for everyday life and a lot of stuff that we do every day, Newtonian mechanics will work great. Like, dang near perfect. Once you start going towards the speed of light, and things start changing, like length, like time dilation, length contraction, physics gets a little weird when you start going that fast. So, in that case, you can't really have Newtonian mechanics work there because things are changing very rapidly because you're going fast. And like certain properties will change, so you can't use Newtonian physics for that. Nor can you use Newtonian mechanics for very small things, like think subatomic. I mean, quantum mechanics is one of those instances where Newtonian mechanics won't work because things are behaving very differently at that small of a scale. If you want more answers on quantum mechanics, just watch Ant-Man Quantumania. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the exact same thing. Because hey, you know, Marvel movies have just as much of an idea on quantum mechanics as physicists do at the moment. Because basically, stuff gets weird at that scale. Electron starts vibing. You look at it, then electron says, "Okay, well, I'm not doing it anymore." Quantum mechanics is weird because if you look at something acting in a certain way, it's going to be like, "No, I'm not doing it anymore." But if you don't look at it, it's going to be doing the thing. I am not qualified to like really expand on quantum mechanics. I took a bunch of it at university, but it's not my expertise. So I will say very minimal stuff about it here and there, but I'm not going to go full in because I think I have to go back to school for that. Funny how math kind of just breaks at the extreme edges of ranges. Yeah. Electron can also move faster than the speed of light, proof of higher dimensions. I haven't heard about that. I need to look into that. Because, I mean, as far as we know... So the way I say this... Okay, the way I say this statement is... Nothing can go faster than the speed of light that we know of. I mean, science is an ever-changing field, especially physics. I mean, in Newton's time... People had a lot of ideas about what the universe was and how it functioned. But after he came up with his findings and then people expanded on it like centuries afterwards, then our understanding of physics changes. So I usually say that we know. I usually preface everything that I say with that we know of, because there is a possibility that some things can change over time and as our understanding changes and evolves. But that's just science. And also people that say like, oh well, science said it was this way one time and now they're saying it's a different way. Make up your mind. It's like, that's what science is, you dolts. Like, what, you think we find absolute truth right off the bat? No! It takes time to look at this stuff and, like, refine it and get a better understanding of it. Also, just never listen to people that are like, oh, well, scientists say one thing and then next time they're saying something else. Yes, that's a scientific process. We learn new information and we adjust. That's the good part of it. I'd rather be wrong 1,000 times than announce myself as being right only once and never wavering from it. It's called the Catholic Church. Okay, that's for another segment. It can teleport between energy orbits instantaneously. Okay, I do remember that. Yeah, electron orbits, I remember that. But like when a photon hits an atom and absorbs its energy. Oh yes, is that Compton scattering? I think it is. Science has failure built into it, kind of like the point. Yes. Like here. I will speak on behalf of science right now. Listen, we can be wrong at times. It's okay. It's okay to be wrong. You can say, okay, well, this was not correct. What can I do? Or what didn't go correctly? And how can I make it so that it will not happen again and I get a better result? Never trust anti-science people that use that as an excuse. Because it just shows that they don't really understand what they're saying, and also they're proving science's point. So, anyways, Newtonian physics was largely instrumental in the Industrial Revolution, which I didn't even know either. So, like, a lot of his ideas with physics and scientific instruments pretty much helped create new machinery centuries after, like, he was around. I mean, because the Industrial Revolution doesn't really deal with relativistic ideas or even stuff on the quantum scale, so for the most part, his stuff, like his ideas on physics and all that, was perfect in like spearheading it in Europe and then everywhere else afterwards. Ah, and here's a familiar person that we saw before. Johannes Kepler also influenced him, because Kepler made something called the laws of planetary motion that helped Newton with gravity. Hi, I'm new here, but stream about science more often? Welcome in, Water. Yes, oh, thank you for the follow. Yes, I actually want to do more science streams. It's just, part of, when I do these streams, it's usually I have a point redeem in the points where you can request a topic and I talk about it, but I'm also introducing a new segment that I'm doing here that will be a regular occurrence. So I'll have the viewer request for what they want me to talk about, and then I'll also have my other science segment that I will be doing. And I hope to do that once a month. So hopefully I'll have something for May, or not for May, for March. But yes, I will be striving to do much more science-related streams because no one's paying me to do this, so I'm going to do it myself. But this is just like my way of starting with 2 things happening today, and also my time is limited today because of stuff outside of stream, so it's perfect. But yes, welcome in, and rest assured, we shall get you more science streams. Okay, so yeah, Kepler. Remember, we talked about Copernicus before, and Kepler was somebody that came after Copernicus with his ideas on planetary motion. And then Newton used Kepler's findings. Actually, that would be a good one. Kepler's laws. I could easily go into that because it deals with planets. Planetary motion helped the law of gravity. Because he noted that, and Kepler's third law influenced Newton's third law as well, because it dealt with motion and the forces being acted on said objects, between 2 objects, so. Scientists create an idea, and then others later on will expand and present ideas in new ways, so, like Kepler, well, Copernicus started with saying, well, I don't think the Earth is at the center of the solar system, or the Earth is at the center of orbit. Maybe it's the sun, and the Earth goes around that. And so Kepler, who I think was a, what did they say? What was his not student, but like, what's successor or something like that? One of those 2. Saw that and said, okay, well I'm gonna go with that, and I'm gonna present these laws of planetary motion. And then Newton saw that and said, okay. He's got a lot of what he's describing is similar to what I'm looking at right now. I think maybe there's a connection, and then bam. Thanks, sounds super exciting. Science is amazing. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I've always, how do I say this? Before I was never really the best at relaying material that I've learned. It's a skill that I've had to learn over these past few years. Because before I could go to class, learn the material, and then say, okay, that makes sense, yeah. But then if someone asked me to repeat that, I would say, dude, it's on the board. It makes sense. Look, just look at it. Yeah, but those are calculus equations. Yeah, exactly. It makes sense. Just look. It's just calculus, right? You can't just tell someone just look at it and tell them and expect them to understand it. So you have to like learn how to talk about these things and relay it in ways that someone can understand. And actually watching my nephew while he was doing school from home during the dark times kind of helped me to understand that more, because at the time he was like 8. So it's like, I can't just tell an 8-year-old, oh, just multiply it. Yeah, the answer's right there, just multiply it. It's like, no, you have to think about it. You have to think about how they think and how they see the world, and you have to approach it with that and then have them understand. The panini, or pan dulce. There was nothing sweet about that. Oh, and also the biggest thing that Newton has in his legacy is that he was included in a live-action Japanese show in 2015. Newton Damashi from Kamen Rider Ghost. This is a show where some guy dies in the first episode, comes back as a ghost, and he has to collect the 13 legendary icons, like Blink cons, and one of them was Newton. And as you can see here, you have the arrow, and the apple, and it made a nice little visor. And then I think this one pushed away things, and this one brought things in. Oh, and his jacket has a nice little arrow pointing down because of the vector pointing down for gravity. This show wasn't that great. aside from, like, side note, the show was, like, fun, and they had, like, other historical icons. They had Edison in there. They should have had Tesla, but... Random thing I heard, not sure if it's correct, but is Buddhism not the only religion that says if science proves God is real, we will evaluate, change everything, our teachings? Oh, no, I would say no disrespect is in there, you're good. I don't know much about Buddhism, so I can't really say if Buddhism said that. Actually, that'd be interesting to look into. But I mean, Buddhism is very much... Well, Buddhism isn't a religion necessarily, it's a philosophy. That's what I learned from when I took a philosophy course at Sax. I almost said the school that I went to, and which almost doxed my location. City College. So yeah, I can't say if that's true or not. I'd have to look into it. But yeah, this is a pretty... I like this design, and it's also a puffy jacket. I would wear this jacket if I could. But yeah, this was the culmination of his legacy, being included in a children's TV show, where he used his orb hands to like fight. I think he was only used like what, 5 times? Oh, and here's some pictures of Newton. Isaac Newton demonstrated that going outside is gay, circa 1670. And this is spectroscopy. He took a light, shone it through a prism, and it turned into the gay agenda. Isaac Newton invented gays, everybody. Let's hear it for Isaac Newton. He invented gays. And also, when you discover gravity but can't attract anyone. Oh, okay. So apparently there was this thing where people said that Isaac Newton died at 30 and a virgin, which is not true. Like, he didn't pass until he was like, I think 78 or 80. His face says he's judging me for not understanding calculus. Exactly, like, he's like, yeah, this was the face I made when someone said, I don't get calculus. It's like, dude, it makes sense. Just look at it. It makes sense. So apparently he never married. And written documentation often notes that he was never really interested in women. But he did have a male friend that he confided in. And anyone who studies history will pick up on the signs. Science was the only companion he needed. Yeah. Although no one can confirm that him and his male companion were simply just companions, but from what I was reading, it just seemed like he was never really interested in like women. And I think at one point there was like a written segment where he expressed anger at somebody because someone was trying to get him with a woman. So with that, well, I mean, this is just speculation now. I can't go. I mean, I can't go back in time and ask him like, hey, man. It's like you invented gravity. Why can't you attract any women? Vine boom sound effect. I don't want to get calculus. Please no Newtonian fluids, except a beer after a good talk. Fluid dynamics isn't that bad. But then again, I'm also speaking as somebody who studied physics for like nearly a decade, combining my city college education with my university, so it gets a little weird, but I'd say the biggest hurdle is that the first 2 classes of calculus seemed like they could be useful for some folks. After that, it was all theoretical stuff that went over my head. Yeah, like the higher level math classes are mostly for like just kind of understanding math in a much broader sense. Imagine a 5-dimensional bowl. It reminds me of the Futurama quote, or the Futurama line where Bender's like, 4D, I can't picture that. And the funny part is like, I mean, yeah, I can't tell you, okay, picture a 4-dimensional object. Like, we can't. Our world is 3-dimensional. This is Ice-T, by the way. It's like, I can only think of things in a 3rd dimension. Like, I can visualize a projection of the 4th dimension into a 3rd-dimensional plane, because that's a tesseract that, like, moves its shape. But, like, you can't pick... It's like someone telling you to picture a 5th-dimensional bowl is like saying, think of a new color. Well, you want me to come up with, like, a color named Blello or something? Like, Bruh. How can I conceive something that is inconceivable? Buddhism, like anything that comes in contact with people, is very complex and has changed from area to area. That's true. Newtonian and non-Newtonian fluid behavior is very interesting, same as calculus, but that just might be me, an organic chemist. Oh, you're a chemist, nice. I actually didn't have to take chemistry. Although when I got to university, they said, hey, you didn't take chemistry. And I told them, I was like, yeah, they didn't say I needed to, but they're like, oh, it's okay, we have this class where it'll cover that credit. And it was simple physics stuff, so. My brother-in-law took chemistry. One of my siblings took chemistry. They were not happy with it. They didn't like it. So I guess I count myself lucky that I didn't take chemistry. But I do understand a little bit of each science because as scientists, a lot of the concepts that we think and we learn can be applied to other areas and we can see the magic happening there. Oh, and then we'll end with a quote because a bunch of these always end with a quote for me for some reason. What we know is a drop, what we don't know is an ocean. Which is, I like this quote, it's good. Like, he was very aware that he had understandings of stuff, but he also was aware that, I mean, like, what I understand, most people don't understand right off the bat, but even so, compared to the vast stuff that's out there and, like, what I can't perceive yet, it's just, like, a small fragment. Yep, plus go to and negative go to plus. Stuff stinks and can be influenced with external forces. Also, chemistry has a cool little hexagonal things where you draw lines and you put letters on it. I like that. Oh, okay. A picture is worth 1,000 words. And awesome words. This is actually left over from the template that I used, but I thought they were pretty fun to use. Okay, so that was Newton. Woo. This one was pretty fun. I liked it. And this is also the thing that we saw later on. But yeah, we have this guy to thank for calculus. And I say, good. Oh yes, we have a server where we can, oh, I gotta put a science channel in that server too. But yes, that is Newton's law. Or Newton's laws and a little bit extra about his, actually, hold on. Here, let me... Look at this dignified person. Actually, hold on, I want to expand upon, let's see. And I know I use Wikipedia. And people are like, don't use it, but it's like, you can use Wikipedia so long as you look at the sources that are being linked. If the sources are good, then you're fine. There's optics and, oh look, I love Pink Floyd. One of the telescopes he worked with in optics, because he was also studying that stuff. Here's a document of the Principia Mathematica. No, although it was claimed that he was once engaged, Newton never married. He was never sensible to any passion, was not subject to the common frailties of mankind, nor had any commerce with women, a circumstance which was assumed me by the physician and surgeon who attended him in his last moments. Newton had a close friendship with the Swiss mathematician Nicolas Fatio de Dulier. This guy. Close friendship. I can't say anything for sure, because I'm not a historian, nor am I a shipper, because shipping culture is horrible. But if he never married and was never interested in women, but had a close friend by the name of Nicholas, like... It seemed, you know, it kind of like, yeah. If you use Wiki, just don't take all of your facts as information that might need to be Yes, correct. I'd bang the Dulier. I mean, look at that. Do you see that? Do you see those cheekbones? That chin? That jawline? Oh. The hair, too? Listen, if they had Maybelline back then, he would definitely use it. Or Tresemme. So yeah, never married. Never interested in women, but I had a close friend named Nicholas. Speculation, but I think the Newton estate has never confirmed anything, and just called it speculation, which, I mean, at this point, like, we can't really say for sure. Now it would be too much nuts jokes. Haha. That's probably a big old wig. True. And they say drag is a new thing. Look at her. You see that lace front? You see those jaw lines? The jaw, the structure? The clothes? She was a performer. And she was Swiss. You know who's also Swiss? ABBA. Well, they came in later on, but still. Proves my point. Okay, so now that we've done that, we are moving on to the new segment that I have called Quelling Quackery. This is actually inspired by me scrolling through Instagram, looking for reels to send my friends. Quake can attend to... yeah, that's the right word, right? Well, Quake can vouch that I send people reels all the time. And like, in mass. And one ad came up and I was like, wait, what is this? And then I started looking at it, I was like, wait, what? No, this doesn't make sense. Why? And then from that moment I was like, okay, I know what I have to do now. I need to go into depth on this, because it's like when you see something that's like so incredibly wrong, you don't even know where to begin to explain how it's wrong. You're just more like stun locked. You're just like how do you even start? Like, where do you even start? All of ABBA are Swedish. Exactly. And they make good music. I'm not just saying that as a gay man. Okay, so this one is about anti-5G devices. Need a shower from exercise, but also all the science BRB. Thanks for the lurk. Actually, by the time you get back, I think you'll get to the part where you contributed an idea to this as well. So I have to give you credit for this part too, because you mentioned something on stream, and then I put it in here, so. Swedish and Swiss are not the same thing. Oh. As you can tell, I'm a filthy American that doesn't really know any other culture outside of the US. Please forgive me. Okay, so, 5G devices. Well, we gotta talk about, well, what's 5G? So 5G is 5th generation mobile network, which comes after 4G. And this just delivers high peak data speeds, ultra low latency, more reliability, massive network capability, yada yada yada. Basically, communication but higher def than 4G. And what uses 5G? Well, our phones do. Our laptops do. Other home devices, EC, like, things have been gearing to 5G friendly servers. I'll check the VOD if I miss it. Thanks for the science. No worries. However, the first use of the G system was in 1979 in Japan. And that was 1G. And then it came to the US in 1983. So I'm pointing this out because I just want to illustrate something further down the line. Like, this technology is not new. We've had it for a while. And just the numbering system is just the range in which the communication takes place in. Now, 5G communicates through the electromagnetic spectrum, which is radiation, but like I said in one other stream, radiation is not a bad word. It's just talking about a form of energy. What does the G stand for? Gigahertz? Yes, I believe so, yeah. So it's just a range in which you send information through. Like, radio used to be an AM frequency, and then as technology got better, they were able to transfer into the FM frequency. So it's just sending information through a range of frequency somewhere else. So 5G uses non-ionizing radiation, which means that electromagnetic waves ranging from ultraviolet to the microwave. So my light up there, that's visible light. That's non-ionizing, which basically means that it doesn't go through your body. So when you're standing out in the sun and like you use sunblock, hopefully, or suntan lotion responsibly, you notice you get a little tan. That's because the light is only the farthest it's going is your skin. It gives you a nice little tan color. However, think about when you break an arm or something, or like a bone gets broken. What do? They take you to the doctor to get an x-ray. And an x-ray can see the inside of your body and get a picture of that bone. That's ionizing radiation because it can pass through your body. And also that's why the reasons like doctors say, oh, it's harmless, but then they run out the door to take the picture, but only because they're being exposed to it more often. So of course it makes sense that they're gonna jet to the door and get the picture taken, and then they're gonna be like, okay, you're good, you're on your way, because most people normally don't get x-rays that much, but the people who do it, radiology people, have to, you know, sit there. But yeah, non-ionizing, might I ask, is enough regeneration? Let me check. Because I'm pretty sure it was gigahertz, but I could be wrong. 5th generation of mobile communications. Okay, you're right. So then okay, I think I must be getting confused gigahertz with other tech. Okay, yeah, so the G stands for generation mobile communications, but... Oh, that's right, gigahertz, I was looking at computer parts earlier, so I was thinking computer parts, gigahertz, okay. So yeah, G just means generation. Ionized radiation is just for pictures, and then people that have to be exposed to the radiation wear badges to indicate that they have... Ah, yes, well actually, fun fact, even in space travel, because you're up there, you don't really get the magnetic field of the Earth protecting you as much. There is only a certain amount of radiation that one person can handle before they can't go back up into space anymore, and that's called a millisievert. Okay, so now that we've established what 5G is, it's just sending information from one place to another, and this is just the 5th iteration of that generation. What are anti-5G devices? Well, these devices, I'm using that word very loosely, are described as protection from EMF. Okay, so what is EMF? Well, EMF is the electromagnetic field, and as we said, 5G works in the electromagnetic spectrum, so it does deal with electromagnetic field. But they take these terms. You'll notice something. They will take scientific terms and things that are correct in stating so, but they'll use them in a certain way that just feels off. Ionized iodine is very common and very fast degradable and collects in some organs where we can take pictures capturing the radiation from the compound. Actually, oh, that's right. Yeah. Yes, I know. Yeah, I've heard of that. It's like for certain tests and all that. Okay, so a lot of these claims from these anti-5G products and people and all that is that EMFs can harm people over prolonged radiation exposure with an adverse side effect. What are the side effects? Well, they say electrohypersensitivity causes headaches, nausea, or even rashes believed to be from exposure. Okay. And then it causes cancer. Just that. I legitimately tried to find what specific kind from the examples that I'll be showing. They didn't really say, they just said, oh, it'll cause cancer. What kind? Cancer. Okay, great, but there's different types and different categories, and they have different function, like behaviors. They just said that. Just that. Oh, no worries, water. I don't mind the input. Oh, and also your DNA can be altered and fragments, which can cause damage later on. So remember, we said this is non-ionizing radiation. But these claims are getting to like, okay, rashes, nausea, or headaches. Up to like, your cells will multiply poorly and then you will perish and your DNA will be altered. And here's an example. The pregnancy EMF radiation protection baby belly band. Say that 3 times fast. Retails for $90. Create an EMF-free sanctuary for your growing bun in the oven with our soft and stretchy non-toxic belly band. So a piece of fabric worth $90 can protect you from EMF. Aha. Oh, I did not even... Darn it. I had a slide with more information on this one, but it's gone. Ah, must have been the other iteration. Interactivity in science is cool. Yes. DNA should be altered in fragments. Reproductive cells only half of your DNA, which is a good thing. But, okay, you also notice a trend with things that are protecting you from radiation being very high. 21 reviews. These reviews are from the this is from the website itself. So the reviews there are controlled. And as you can see here, they have cell phone cases, laptop shields. There's a lot of stuff. And another example is Defender Shield for Kids. EMF protection for children and mothers. Because, you know, won't you please think of the children? As they use that and like to justify like every terrible thing against marginalized groups, but that's just beside the point. And in science too. Think of the children! Yeah, I see through your excuse. We have headphones, we have tablet cases, we have blankets, we have glasses, and the belly band. Okay, so this is from Defender Shield. EMF radiation affects everyone, but the most vulnerable populations include those with autoimmune disorders or EMF hypersensitivity, EHS. I could not find anything for EMF hypersensitivity. Nothing that I could find unless it was on their website. And that is also a red flag because they're only sharing what they find rather than what can be found on a more established scientific website. Your skin protects you from alpha as long as it's on your body. This website, I remember going to it. A lot of these anti-science type pseudoscience things don't just stop at like devices for said protection against stuff. They like to take it a step further and start implicating other things. So this website says autism and EMF radiation exposure. Is there a link? Now, when I was looking up information, I came across this article. I was like, oh, I read the article, but I'm not going to link it because it's long. I was like, okay, this is not good because now you're equating things that don't actually have to do with neurodivergence or neurotypical people, and now you're saying it is the cause of something. Yes, exactly. A lot of these pseudoscience things will and also another one, are video games bad for you? Effects of blue light, EMF, and why kids are more at risk. We've seen this argument happen many times with video games. Oh no, there's a lot of violence going around? Blame video games. People acting a certain way? Blame video games. EMF, radiation? Blame video games. It's like, not only is there a monetary angle for selling products like this, but there's also an angle to look at things that people find that they don't understand, or certain groups of people that are behaving differently and saying, okay, that's not normal, it must be because of this. Sun and Autism, the 5 links you did not know about this. It's like a noob article yeah. Autism has existed since we were using stone tools. Exactly. So like, this was found on the Defender Shield website because they have their store, but they also have their articles. But only they can publish the articles on their website. So it's their own people that are making articles like this that are starting to implicate people just existing differently from other people and saying, oh, well, these people are on the rise. Or they're saying, oh, more people are being diagnosed with neurodivergence and autism. So it has to be because of this technology that we've been seeing an increase in lately. It's like, no. The reason more people are being diagnosed is because they're getting tested and they're finding that. You test more people, guess what? Results are going to show up with more people. Yeah, and a lot of people that don't understand science on a more technical level won't realize that what they're doing is they're showing biased information and they're causing people to sway things. And also, this is not just affecting people buying it by giving them your money, but they're also starting to implicate other people that have nothing to do with what they're talking about and saying, oh, well, they are a symptom of this problem and we must fix the problem and also the symptoms. And the testing is getting better. Also expensive, though. I heard like $2,000 just to get tested for neurodivergence if you're an adult. We gotta fix that. And people just get scared. Yes, I will go into that as well. But yeah, this is just like 2 articles that I found, but I went on incognito mode because I didn't want my search history to show up with this because I don't want people thinking that I'm like looking into this stuff and like believing it. But a lot of them were like this. It's just jargon, and I don't want to go into this because I don't want to give them the clicks or the views. Like, just this is enough. But yeah, you'll often find that anti-technology, anti-insert technology here products always have an angle where like, oh, well, people or other things are also a part of this and we have to fix it. Here's another example on Instagram. That's actually where I found the other one, but this is not the specific one. Called Shield Your Body. Clickbait, yes. And also using the angle of, oh, well, think about the children. After all, children are innocent creatures. We can't let them be affected by anything. We gotta protect them from the radiation. We gotta protect them from the video games. We gotta protect them from the drag queens. You see where this is going? Like, using children to further your goal. Never a good look, sis. Yikes, bestie. That should have stayed in the drafts, boo. Okay, so, shield your body. Our baby beanie makes it easy to shield your baby from 99.9% of harmful EMF radiation from cell phones, laptops, Wi-Fi, and other wireless devices. Simply put on the SYB baby beanie on your baby's head, and his or her noggin is protected wherever she goes. Protect your baby's brain from EMF radiation now. ShieldYourBody.com/product. And that's where I went. It's a baby beanie. Please protect the children from the children. And then what? Wait. Yeah, exactly. It's like, protect the children from yourselves. Protect the children from people like you, using them for everything. So the baby beanie was made with silver thread, safer body TM, silver 42. So I looked at that and I was like, wait, what is that? So I looked up silver 42, and it's basically metallic thread used for sewing. It doesn't really seem to have anything aside from just being metallic thread. That when it's sewed with stuff, it can look nice. I saw examples of rugs with metallic thread. Shalaris, I think you can comment more on this because I'm pretty sure you've worked with threads like this. But it's just like, it's just thread. And their baby beanie was laboratory tested for 5G up to 26 gigahertz to shield your body from up to 99% of harmful EMF radiation. Yeah, well-established science. Metallic thread is an absolute pain to work with. Okay, so yeah, and this was their product description. That they tested in the laboratory for 5G up to 26 gigahertz to shield your body from 99% of harmful radiation. That's all it says. Like, I tried looking into the other products and they all just say laboratory tested. They don't say how it was tested. They don't say where it was tested. They don't, well, I mean, I think mostly they don't say who tested, but yeah, they don't give specifics aside from it was just tested in a lab. Well, okay, great. That still doesn't answer my question. And unlike inferior competitors, our entire beanie is made of our shielding material, creating 360 full protection. So a beanie is like that. I look like I work in a shipping company, like in the early hours of the morning. Okay, so it's saying 360 protection. So, well, if we're thinking of a 3D space, 360, but this is still open. So if anything, you're only getting like partial protection from the radiation because it can still enter through your skin, according to these people, because it can cause rashes. So it's not necessarily 360 protection because this this real estate is being, you know, exposed. But is silver is AG47? Are they using the 42 type, which is not from silver anymore? Well, I checked when I was looking for this, like last week, it still said silver 42, so I don't know if there's been a switch to a different type, but according to their store, it's just silver 42. I think they just associate silver with metallic, and metals can have electromagnetic properties, so I'm guessing they figured, okay, if we say it's silver 42, then we can say the silver is creating a barrier from the electromagnetic fields from your baby, so it protects them from that. A lot of this I had to just kind of sit there and think about what they were trying to say, because they only give this information on their website. Like, that's all they give us, so it's like I have to sit there and do their job for them and try to think about, okay, what do they mean by this? Periodic table has a number for some time. Machine washable! You can wash the technology! We really are living in the future times. It's machine washable! Okay, another example is the magnetic bracelet made of skin-friendly silicone with negative ions. It's just then silver protection. The best you can buy for you are the gold. Yeah, I mean... Actually... Oh, what? That's one thing I didn't think to look at, the demographic of people that buy into these products. Ah, I should have done that. I might do a follow-up of this later. Because I think looking at the demographic of people who buy this, and the people that are more inclined to believe these kind of things, will be an interesting revelation. Okay, so here we have from Magnetics Wellness, the magnetic bracelet made of skin-friendly silicone with negative ions. I have plenty of stuff to say about negative ions. We'll get there. But it protects you from radiation. Silicone bracelets are made with neodymium magnets. Oh, that's right. I looked up what neodymium was. Interesting stuff. So, the most current version that I saw of this product doesn't have the negative ions. And there's a reason for that. And I'll get into it. As I said right there. And it comes in different colors. You can get your anti-5G devices in different colors. I mean, that's actually pretty cool regardless of what people are selling. We need to go back to the like late 90s, early 2000s, where everything technology-wise had a plastic case with different colors. Because that was when technology peaked, and we need to go back. Yeah, the description for this I found was just very bare bones. Like, it didn't really give me much. And that's possibly because of what the negative ions were that were implemented in the previous listing. But yeah, like that page where the screen cap of that, it was pretty much just that. It just said, protection, you can buy your own colors, and then that's it. And I looked throughout the whole website and I couldn't find anything. Now we come to the thing that started this entire thing, because oh my gosh, do I have plenty to say about this one. This is Airs Tech, and this was the reel that I saw. Because when you're scrolling reels, it'll give you advertisement reels, which is stupid and I hate it. Because I just want to send meme posts to my friends. Like, I don't need an ad in between like the 10 reels that I scroll through. You're hyping the negative ions in a very positive way. +2. Okay, so yeah. And also they used a very, very good looking, very attractive influencer for this. And it's like, of course that's how they get the gays into this, because they have this like very well built bearded man advertising this. But when I saw him talking about it, I was like, oh girl, no, honey, no, beauty fades, dumb as forever, no, not this. I'm neutral about it. All this positive and negative and neutral talk is gonna make the stream unstable. That one was kind of a reach. Okay, so I feel like I can dissolve this in conversation very easily. Oh my god. Are we really gonna go into the science puns? Okay, so this is Airstech, and they have a LiveTune device and LiveTune personal modulate electromagnetic radiation helping you protect you from its effects. What effects? The effects. Those of us who can't live without wireless tech should consider using the combination of these two devices in their everyday lives. Welcome back, Ribbons. You're just in time. We are looking at the thing that started the entire discussion, or this whole segment, this thing. And this is the LiveTune device right here, this little square. Now, this is what I got from the page itself. So they're saying, okay, the radiation source is a tower. It sends non-coherent radiation, and their device has a transformer that turns it into coherent radiation. So when I first saw this, I was just kind of at a loss. Okay, no, coherent and incoherent radiation are actual things, but they're not used in the right way. So, coherent radiation basically means that waves of light are in the same phase, that is going in the same direction, but they're separated by a constant. So like if you have one wave here, another wave is going in this direction, but they're going in the same direction, but they're just differing by a space. So a laser pointer. A laser pointer is a perfect example of coherent radiation because it's focusing all the light into one singular point and displaying it wherever you point it. So that's coherent radiation because it's same phase, they're just separated by a constant difference, which they can like stack up on top of each other and make that light. But sun and radiation and stuff is just not going in this thing. Oh, we'll get to describing that. So non-coherent radiation is my light bulbs, or like a light bulb. So when you plug in a light bulb and you turn it on, where does the light go? The light goes everywhere. Because non-coherent radiation means that the light is just going in any direction. So a light bulb shines light everywhere. It shines it radially. So the light particles are going everywhere. It's not a laser pointer where all the light is focused into one area. It's just displaying everywhere. So these terms are scientifically correct. However, when we're talking about 5G, I was just trying to, like, I spent a bunch of time just like looking up information to like to describe if this was coherent radiation. It doesn't apply to 5G that I could see. Whenever I searched, is 5G coherent radiation, I just kept getting articles saying the myths about 5G and the people that are peddling those myths. So like they were explaining, they were doing the whole thing where they're like debunking these things that people are thinking of. So their device will take it and make a coherent radiation. And this is actually a comment that someone made because since I didn't block that ad, I see other forms of it. And there are people in the comments that are also like knowing that it's just nonsense. And so they responded to one of them. Wait, what's going on? Maybe Shalaris can craft us all Faraday cage chainmail suits. Oh my god. I need about $400 to get out the metal for that. Imagine how sore your hands would get. Oh god, no. To protect myself from non-coherent radiation, I sure do. Having chainmail will be pretty cool. Yes. Listen, if you're experiencing non-coherent radiation, it's because you have a light bulb. Or any light source that disperses the light radially. And radially just means, using my Pokeball again, it just means from every direction. If you have the money, just go and buy the jeweler I've already made. Yes. Buy Shalaris' jewelry. It's cool. It's Pog. Okay, so Airstech has okay, so I had to cut this up into pieces, which is why it looks weird. Thank you for your comment. The microprocessor modulates chaotic EMR, transforming the waves and creating a coherent EMF similar to our biological radiation. It does not block the radiation, but restructures it to neutralize any physiological impact. Any EMR waves that pass through the effective range mimic the modulated EMF created by the product. The EMR waves from electronic sources are chaotic, creating an EMF that is inconsistent and incompatible with our own. Okay, so I'm gonna go through this piece by piece. There's a lot. It's radiating us right now. Oh no! This is an example of I'm not reading all that, but I'm either happy for you or sorry that it happened, kind of thing. Okay, so the little thing has a microprocessor that modulates the chaotic EMR, transforming the waves and creating a coherent EMF similar to our biological radiation. Okay, people do emit radiation, but we call it body heat because it's low levels that it's classified under thermal radiation, thermal meaning temperature. So body heat is a form of radiation. So this is saying that it's taking the devices and turning it into body heat essentially to balance us out. I will be back, but I need a break from the radiation. No worries, we'll be here. I might still be on this because I'm like trying to like... Well, the goal with this segment is that I want to like have my fun with these products, but also like I don't want to be here and be like, haha, this is bad, and then not elaborate on it, like, because I'm just doing what they're doing. So like I really am, like with this, I'm really aiming to take each part and try to extrapolate what they're trying to say and then explain why it doesn't work. So here, creating an EMF similar to biological radiation, I don't understand how they're going to turn wireless, like Wi-Fi or anything 5G, and turning it into body heat. And if you could restructure it to reduce any physiological impact, I feel like you should go to like the people that do the Nobel Prizes or something, because there is a lot that you could win from that. I mean, listen, if I could restructure radiation, I'm pretty sure I'd be set. Okay, any EMR waves that pass through the effective range mimic the modulated EMF created by the product. And it's saying that the EMR waves, or EMF, EMR, they're interchangeable. Oh, they have EMF and EMR. They go back and forth. The EMR waves from electronic sources are chaotic, creating an EMF that is inconsistent and incompatible with our own. They haven't really elaborated what they mean by compatible with our own. Like, what do you mean? You're just saying words. You can't just like throw a bunch of science words. Okay, modulation technology offers a solution to transform the surrounding EMF into a coherent form, as we saw in the picture. Instead of blocking EMR, the microprocessors harmonize the entire EMF, resulting in a neutralized atmosphere that is ideal for our biology and our electronics to thrive. My dude, the sun exists. We've been dealing with electromagnetic radiation this entire time. What do you mean? Quakesaber throws a bunch of random... Wait, your name is Quakesaber now? Why am I just noticing this? Huh. What prompted the change? I completely just didn't see that. I was like in science mode. Also, ignore this little part right here. I was in a group chat and I forgot to crop that out. Doesn't mean anything, I swear. Okay, the nanotechnology behind the microprocessor is rooted in mathematics and quantum physics. Oh, new overlay. It is rooted in mathematics and quantum physics. Nanotechnology. They're gonna win a Peabody Award for this. Like, why are they advertising on Instagram? You know what they need? They need to go get a Nobel. Because there's no bells ringing in here. Instead of being such a lazy streamer. Okay, and they're describing the little square. The outer antenna, gold antenna, which acts as a conductor, charges the passive microprocessor with any EMF in the vicinity. The circular lattice within the microprocessor creates an obstacle for EMR that diffracts or restructures the chaotic waves. Unlike blocking EMR, this transformation does not cause any energy to be lost, resulting in a continuous and coherent EMF without impacting our bodies or the functionality of our electronics. Listen, I spent weeks trying to get this thing ready, and I still am trying to figure out what that's supposed to mean. Huh? I don't have one. That's Mom. Yeah, I mean, the reason this took so long was because I wanted to make sure that every single part I can refute and give an explanation. I legitimately can't understand what this is supposed to mean. Ribbons, do you have anything, since you work with tech and all that? Like, the antenna and the microprocessor and the lattice that creates an obstacle and restructures the EMF? Like, I'm legit... Yeah, I spent weeks just trying to figure out what this is supposed to mean, and I cannot for the life of me understand what they want to say. Oh, you work with software, okay. Well, I mean, you work with microprocessors too, so I mean, I feel like that's kind of related. But yeah, I mean, I make games. Okay, fair enough. You're contributing more than they are, because I mean, I saw this and I just was trying to rack my brain, and I just... My brother in Christ, I don't know what you mean. So yeah, this is their explanation of how their stuff works. It takes radiation in, and using its technology, it restructures it to match your biological radiation, and then you will not have any physiological impact. Also, here are our prices. So the costume of the LiveTune device, the one that we were just, they explained, was 80 bucks. The LiveTune Mini, the mini version, is 200 bucks. The standard and the mini, everyone. The price of the LiveTune Personal is $279.95. And the LiveTune Room Gadget, so it's for your whole room, is $330. Do you notice a trend with the baby band being $90, and then these things just kind of they're probably making more money than us? Yes. Oh my goodness, yes. Like, if I didn't have a moral compass, I'd probably join on this hype train and do the exact same thing. But no, I'm too much of a goody two shoes. I can't do this to people and feel good about it. Actually, hold on. Let me wait, can I do a... Hold on. How do I do an incognito mode? I'm not gonna do anything crazy, I swear. I do not want this. Keep... I just want to show you the thing. New private window. Because I feel like I need to go into it. Oh gosh! Ah! that's the face that that's the sound that I'm hearing her make. Without airs and with airs. Summer in California to like spring in like Hawaii or something. Ah! We're skipping. We're skipping. Okay. No, no! Stop it! I just want... Okay, here it is. I'm basically doing the meme where it's like, listen, I can tell you're full of nonsense and I'm going to prove it mathematically. Oh, they actually have a glossary of terms. We're not going to look at that. Where is the LiveTune device? Because I just want to show you what it looks like. How it works technically. It doesn't. Peer-reviewed studies. 8 publications. 8 Oh, you guys can't see this. Oops. Oh, because it's capturing another window. Yeah, but they have 8 publications in peer-reviewed research. 8 is abysmal. You need more. Oh, okay, we can't see that. I don't want to give them the views. Okay. But they have a way of describing their thing, so it's like 2 microprocessors on both sides, a little resin shell, and then like the lattice in the middle. But it's basically just saying the exact same thing that I was saying, which nothing. Okay, so is 5G harmful? Well, in short, not really. There are studies still ongoing because of people like this advertising these products and spinning webs of like misinformation. People are getting concerned and they have to look into it. So as of currently, there really isn't anything to prove their point, but the studies are still ongoing because they want to be sure, and which is always a good thing. So studies still ongoing doesn't mean that these people are right. They're just saying, okay, well, we want to get more information to have a comprehensive list of things in regards to the anti-5G stuff. So, the International Commission on Ionizing Radiation Protection, ICNIRP, sounds like an alien. The commission, this commission has not shown conclusive evidence of any long-term adverse effect from 5G devices. Double-blind studies shown that there's really no biological effects on people from 5G exposure. And electromagnetic radiation is classified as possibly carcinogenic. But I mean, aloe vera. This is the thing that I found interesting, was that I think the World Health Organization classifies it as possibly carcinogenic, and I've seen a lot of people run with this, like an absurd amount. But it's saying possibly carcinogenic. But technically aloe vera is as well. But we use it for, like, sunburns. Actually works really well. So just because they are labeling it as a possible carcinogenic doesn't prove their point. It's just, they're just categorizing it in this category. As for the cancer claims, there are studies still ongoing, because when you're talking about cancer, you want to, like, be more exact and precise with your explanation. But so far, there hasn't been any correlations yet. And also, like, this stuff is kind of, like, long-term, so these studies are going to be going on for a while. But, I mean, so far, we really haven't seen anything, and since we've talked about 5G and its predecessors being around since 1979 in Japan, and, like, then the 80s, like, the rest of the world, you can kind of take a guess. How can you make a long-term study if the thing you study is not long-term yet? Also another fact, yeah, like, they'll just say, oh, well, there's not, like, they'll just say, well, there isn't enough studies yet, and there haven't been around long enough. It's like, yeah, because this thing just came out. Actually, a friend of mine was trying to get a job somewhere, and one of the job requirements was like, oh, you need to be, you need to have, like, a few years of experience with this coding system. But he made the coding system, and it was only out for like a year, and they were saying, oh, well, you need 3 years or like 4 years of this coding system. It's like, dude, I made the thing. How are you gonna tell me that I need 4 years of something that's only been out for a year? What, you want me to time travel? Because at that point, if I could time travel, I don't need to be here. I could be anywhere. I could do anything. I mean, multiverse theory is a thing, so who knows? Maybe you could just, like, make your... Actually, yeah, if you could time travel and multiverse theory is a thing, or the multiverse hypothesis, I should say, I could just do a series of actions that creates the best possible timeline for me. Or would it create instances where those problems were fixed? That's theoretical physics, and if we ever figure out time travel, then it's just physics. The long-term study thing is at least logical, even if they are overreacting. Oh, trust me, ribbons, we'll get into that. Okay, so, debunking the devices. Okay, so here's the thing. Product manufacturing is already subject to regulations that ensure that your products don't cause external harm to the consumer by default. I know some people will be like, well, corporations don't care, they'll pump out anything. It's like, trust me, they will care once the money stops flowing in, and you have a bunch of people asking for a recall. Like, they will care then. And a lot of these companies would rather deal with the regulations than deal with a possible lawsuit and boycotts and recalls and all that. So, like, most of the time, these things are already subject to a bunch of stuff saying, okay, well, you know, you can't have your phone explode. I'm looking at you, Samsung, with your exploding devices. Was it Samsung? Yeah, it was Samsung, I think. You plugged it in and it just, like, exploded. I remember that time of memes where people were just making fun of that. So, like, there's already extensive products that have, like, regulations built in, and if you get a product that doesn't have the regulations met, it's probably off market and you got it in other ways. And companies like AirTech specifically use a language and tech that sounds scientific enough to sound legitimate, but they're using it in like the most absurd ways. And their solutions to 5G are already simple. Like, people like easy to digest answers over complex ideas that require you to examine things further. And I mean, that's just in life. Like, like if you take your car in to get fixed, you're like, oh gosh, I hope nothing too crazy, and they're like, oh well, yeah, you just need to change like the spark plug or something. You're like, okay, cool. Or rather, it's like if you're taking your car and they're like, oh well, the transmission's acting up, so you got to do this, and this. You're in your mind, you're already going, oh god, no. Because if it's something that sounds simple enough to fix, it sounds great. People like that. I like that. But when the answer is not as easy to like understand, then more people get apprehensive about it and then feel like there's some sort of angle. They're like, wait a minute, no, this sounds really complex. What are you getting at? Like, are you trying to get money out of me? It's like, no. Some stuff just has a bit of explanation. Like, it doesn't mean anything nefarious or like dangerous. It's just like, it's like, hey, bruh. Then almost every device examined yields no specific function or result of stopping EMFs. Once again, the AirTech thing, where they just gave a bunch of words, but they didn't really give a specific as to how it's doing what it's doing. It's just saying, oh, well, we're taking the EMR and we're transforming it to be akin to a person's EMF or radiation. It's like, well, what is the human radiation then? Like, you're just saying things. Yeah, sorry, you need 4 years, make a coding system then, and come back here to talk about... Yeah. But if you would know that, you would know that you would... Wait. But if you would know that you know that you know, would not that disturb the fact that you should know later stuff you know, or therefore it's just another universe, multiverse, and therefore have no effect on your universe? That's where the multiverse hypothesis comes in. And a lot of times, these products are just doing more harm than they are good. Like, they're claiming that it's protecting you from something, but more often than not, this stuff isn't good for you. And they're just like, they don't care. Going backward in time requires a wormhole that annihilates itself in the past due to a feedback loop. Trust me, I've tried. I trust you. Okay, so in Europe, there is something called the Dutch Authority for Nuclear Safety and Radiation Protection, and that issued alerts for a pendant that protected against 5G. So, like, they were selling this product in that region, and they came out and said, oh, among the pendant were children's bracelets, a sleep mask, a bunch of other products. And these things were actually found to emit ionizing radiation in small amounts. Because what they were using to stop the radiation was in fact actually using ionizing radiation, and that can pierce your skin and start affecting you long-term exposure. So while they were claiming that they were protecting you against 5G, they themselves were using things that could actually harm you. And short-term, you would have no effects, obviously, because like you're wearing it for a little bit, but a lot of these people that buy this stuff believe that this stuff is real, and they will hold on to it and they will wear it wherever they go because they need that protection. And so long term, of course, you're going to start seeing effects from ionizing radiation, such as tissue damage, cell damage. And then sellers noted that low-level radiation would strengthen the immune system. One of them actually said that. Oh, yes, I did. Yeah, the example for ionizing radiation that I gave Ribbons was an X-ray. Like when you get, like, if you break a limb, you go get an X-ray, they can see the bone. The reason is because the radiation can pass through your skin, and you can see the bone. Ionizing radiation. But yeah, the seller of the pendant noted that said, like, oh, this low-level radiation will eventually strengthen your immune system and make you stronger. This is why I advocate for science at every stage in life. Especially in elementary school. Along with teaching critical thinking skills and identifying logical fallacies in an argument, because if you give these kids these tools, they will be unstoppable. Okay, and so devices with the negative ions, remember we saw that bracelet with the negative ions in it? Well, negative ions can produce indoor ozone as a byproduct, and some of them use it. I think it has a... I think these negative ion devices have a use for plants, from what I was looking into. And ozone is just oxygen with an extra electron. Yeah, the thing about ozone is that over long periods of time, it can cause respiratory problems where you can cough. You can get asthma when heavily concentrated. And so that bracelet that used to have the negative ions, but now doesn't have it anymore, I think they ran into this problem where they realized that, like, oh, we're producing ozone and people are going to start catching on, so we have to clear it. I mean, if anything, they probably just took it off the listing, but they didn't really change anything with the bracelet. I can't really say for sure. And for the other one that we saw that had neodymium, turns out it's a rare metal that can actually harm people if exposed over a prolonged period. I had never heard of this metal before, but looking into it, I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. This can cause harm. And if you ingest neodymium, it can affect your liver and lungs. But the product that had a neodymium component in it wasn't exactly safe either, even if you're not ingesting... Oh, please don't ingest any of these products, but still. Like, just having it in there as magnets to deflect from the EMF just means that you're gonna be exposed to something else. Because you were protecting yourself from something that doesn't necessarily have a... Yes. Yeah, this is what it was. This is where I want to talk about negative ions, because a few products had that, and here it can produce ozone, but ozone can have an adverse effect on people over a prolonged amount of time. We need it for the atmosphere, don't get me wrong, but not in the comfort of your own home. Don't eat ionized products? Yes. Please do not eat ionized products. Unionized is fine. I can protect you by cutting your arm off. So now no G can cut your arm off. That is true. You don't want 5G affecting your limbs? Take them off yourself. Modern problems require modern solutions. Oh, and also wearable products that aren't the only angle. There is another. It's not just products that you can put on your devices or wear, but salt is sodium and chloride. Them ions bad. Well, I mean, together they neutralize themselves, but yeah, like mixing with something else, it's like, Okay, so here is the quantum pendant, the anti-EMF and Radi 5G protection necklace. Negative release works. And this is the bracelet for magnetic wellness. This is the one that they were selling that was emitting ionizing radiation, and they were touting it as, well, it'll protect you from the other stuff. Did I not? Huh, did I not have... I thought I screen capped it. Okay, so now we get to the side note, Faraday cages, as Ribbons pointed out. Now these are named after the scientist Michael Faraday, which was invented in 1836. Faraday was actually very important in electromagnetism, and we have Faraday's law from it. Really smart guy. So basically, a Faraday cage is an enclosure used to block electromagnetic fields. So while he was doing his experiments with electromagnetism, he made a cage to block this stuff because he was testing out various things and trying to get Faraday's law and other works into a written form. Because if you want to write a law about a fundamental force of nature, you kind of need to do a few experiments and like really make sure that you know what you're talking about and have the equation work out just right. So it takes a while. You need ions in your body as a human being. The ions are in water, and what about the K barrier bio stuff? I'm not familiar with the K plus barrier. I'm just a filthy physicist. I draw a square, and that square could be anything that I need it to be. It could be a car, it could be a truck, it could be a person, it could be a bird, it could be a particle. Like, physicists tend to just think of things very simply, in very simple terms, even though it's complex stuff. If that makes sense. So a Faraday shield can be formed by a continuous covering of a conductive material, or in this case a Faraday cage by a conductive mesh, which is either made of copper, iron, silver, usually metals that are ferrous, meaning like they can be affected by magnetism. Okay, you need ions in your body as a human being. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's just these products are introducing external ions that may not gel with your body and start causing effects. Oh god, I'm starting to sound just like them. And these cages have also been used in the anti-5G market as a protection from EMF. So here's an example of a Faraday cage on Amazon. Faraday Defense Router Shield, Wi-Fi Guard, Wi-Fi Router Cover. EMF Guard superior shielding performance, blocks up to 95% of EMF, RF waves, quality build, made in the USA. Only $190. With Prime shipping, you can get it by, well, when this was screen capped, it was December 7th, but 2-day shipping. And you have a protection plan for a 4-year or 3-year. But yeah, Faraday Defense. Amazon is selling this stuff. A lot of these cages are made from materials that are not necessarily the best. Good place to lock your kids' phones away. Oh my gosh. Okay, we might have a use for it, actually. For disciplinary measures, I can see that being a good thing. But also, $200 for a cage. You could probably go to Home Depot and make one yourself. Now, a lot of these cages are actually made from shoddy materials. So they're just kind of like, people are just like realizing, hey, we can like cash in on this. Just give me a metal crate and put whatever on it. And just slap it with stuff and then we'll call it a day. And as we saw, prices can range from less than 100. I've seen some that are less than 100 to nearly 200. And people have been noted to using Faraday cages to block the harmful EMF from their routers. Do not do this. Please do not. This will destroy your Wi-Fi signal. It'll pulp it. Like, do not. Like, Michael Faraday made the cage, but he was doing it for experiments. If you put this over your router, you will no longer have internet. It might as well be, you might as well cancel your subscription with whatever internet provider you have, because you are actively paying for nothing at that point. And a lot of people have actually expressed their anger over this. We can call it the D-Tactor V008 and just sell barbed wire. Oh my god. You know? I mean, I gotta make money somehow. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Barbed Wire Transfer. I just thought of a good drag queen name. Oh, and there's also other Faraday items, which include, like, fabrics, meshes, and Amazon also had a, like... They just sold, like, copper meshes for Faraday stuff that you can just put over anything, so... Here's some schadenfreude. October 18, 2020. Kill signal strength from router. Devices that were previously located about 30 to 40 feet from the router that used to have full strength don't even connect to it anymore. I had to remove the cage from the router, and now the return window has closed, so I'm stuck with a useless 100 plus metal cage now. We'll try and sell it on Craigslist. Wi-Fi signal is reduced significantly. Signal impacted. Fun science fact. Most Wi-Fi routers use the same frequency of radiation that your microwave uses, just at a lower strength. Yeah, exactly. Microwaves are like one of the most benign versions of radiation. Like, if I were to shrink you and stick you inside a microwave, the heat would kill you quicker than the radiation would. Well, no, heat is radiation, but like, the heat from the microwave would do you in before anything else would. Which is why that microwaves that are turned on can tank your Wi-Fi. Huh, I never knew that. BRB, barbed redundant banging, now available for limited time only. There's more reviews, I think. I think I have to, yeah, there's another one. Decreases Wi-Fi signal, 2019. The box does work at keeping radiation in, but also Wi-Fi will not work unless you're in the same room as router. It decreases the signal by 90%. We really wanted it to like it, but it was impossible to use our phones in any other room in the house. Also, the seller keeps the shipping $25 fee, so that was annoying. You think? You buy a device that is designed to circumvent electromagnetic waves because it deals with electromagnetism, and you're upset that your signal is dying? My brother's in Newton. You bought the thing. I'm pretty sure there were more, but these are the only ones that I found. Which leads us to a long con in the making. Okay, I have to be at my thing by 6. So like 5:40 I can finish here. Okay. You brought a box to keep stuff out and then you don't want it to keep stuff out? These people want to have their cake and eat it too, but at the same time they're demanding someone else make them the cake because they can't be bothered to buy the ingredients and make it themselves, if that makes sense. I have a suggestive tea Paula Vulcan trade. Okay, cool. Yeah, I have 40 minutes. Yeah, the theater practice is at 6 instead of 7, so this is luckily a shorter stream, so it works perfectly. So, a long con of the making. So a lot of this tech is basically the culmination of pseudoscience jargon and fear-mongering stemming from 4G, 3G. Like, 5G is the only new... It's just the name that they slap on it. Like, even before this, there were anti-4G devices, then anti-3G devices. Like, 5G isn't like the specific instance of where they were like, oh, we gotta do something about it. Like, I assure you, once we get to 6G, they're gonna rebrand all this stuff with anti-6G. Or please tell me, just lie to me. I assure you that people can indeed be that unintelligent. Usage of slurs like... I mean, I try not to use words like that. Well, personally, I don't think I don't use words like that because, like, then you get this whole, like, pushback because when you say someone is stupid, in that sense, like, I'm using the term Twitch, I'm not calling anyone that. More people will be like, oh, wow, you're insulting me? Well, I'm not going to listen to you because you're obviously attacking my character and you can't make an argument. Even though they're doing the exact same thing. So, like, it pushes them back, but, like, most of these people kind of make their minds up already, so it doesn't matter if you say unintelligent or uninformed or stupid or what have you. Like, I think eventually it just kind of means, like, to them, to those people, it boils to the same thing. You're conflicting, you're challenging their point of view, and that creates a dissonance here, and it's like, they don't like that. Stupid is in direct reference of a person having a seizure. Is it really? Huh, I never knew that. Well, I mean, then again, a lot of words stem from terms that had a certain technical meaning, and then just the cultural zeitgeist has used them in different ways, like theory. Okay, I did not know that. We can just say the anti-smart. Okay, so a lot of these claims are dubious at best and harmful at worst, which is taking advantage of people with no proper tech or science understanding. And this actually has led to some people believing that 5G is a cause of, well, we all know Miss Rona. She was around for a while. Well, she's still around now, but, like, she was really popular for, like, a bit. Like, some people, I legitimately believe that 5G is the reason we have this. And, like, for a lot of people, it's not just, like, It's not just like, oh, science things we don't understand. It's like more, it's like, no, it's connected because this thing connects to this thing, and this thing showed up when 5G was announced, and it's like, these things prey on people that are looking for an answer that doesn't exist. Am I hurting someone using the word? Honest question, that's the measure of me. What is a slur? It's interesting. I don't think I have the answer to that. I'll mull it over. And also, a lack of regulation on these fraudulent products makes it really difficult to limit the spread to people that are unaware. Like Instagram, it just showed up there. And like a lot of people will sit here and be like, oh my gosh, that sounds scary. And it's like, oh, well, I gotta do something about it. It's like, they're targeting these people. And nobody's like limiting these companies from doing this, so they're just gonna run free. And well, social media is also to blame because they push this content despite stating otherwise, especially Instagram and Meta. We want to conduct a we want a conducive platform that doesn't post any harmful views or affect anyone negatively. Meanwhile, they send me like 3 ads of Airstag on my Instagram, and even though I've like called out the product and reported it, it's still up. But also, I'm just one person reporting it as far as I know, so. And for example, TikTok has millions of views and comments with hashtag EMF, which is concerning. I don't have TikTok, but I looked this up myself, and yeah. Like hashtag EMF, there's a lot of nonsense about that on that platform, and TikTok is really popular, so that's also reaching adults and children that are unaware of this, and they're now being exposed to this kind of stuff that isn't conducive to their development. And also, companies offer commissions to influencers for promotion. So the ad that I saw was of a guy named Taylor Daniel, who's like this, like, looks like a freaking Greek god given manifest form, and he's talking about this while like doing like shots of him like doing pull-ups and working out. So it's like he's making money just by peddling this, and he's just raking it in, but they're using him as a vehicle to get more people because they know that people will stop and look at him and be like, oh wow, he's hot, what is he doing? But I mean, once I realized that he was doing nonsense, I was like, no, you're not hot. You may be conventionally attractive physically, sure, but the idea of you being attractive peddling this, no ma'am. I can see past the facade. Yeah, these influencers can post stuff on their social medias because they're influencers, and like platforms will like them because they're bringing in more traffic. And then influencers are pushing the products onto susceptible people. Although in the case of the ads I saw on Instagram, there was a lot of people that were countering their points. And radiation has become a buzzword for something dangerous, and further widening the gap between people and scientific understanding. Like, I talked about this before in my Star stream, where I talked about radiation, and everyone thinks about it, like, oh my god, radiation, cancer, like, harmful effects. It's like, no, radiation is just talking about a form of energy, like a form of the electromagnetic spectrum. Like, it inherently does not have any dangerous idea to it. It's simply just energy, and of course, more energy that you can't handle is going to be a detriment to you, but it doesn't mean that the energy itself is just dangerous. Like, people say, oh, well, I only eat natural stuff from the earth. It's like, okay, I don't see you eating uranium. Uranium is a natural substance. It's been found on the planet. I don't see you eating rocks. That's natural. That's organic. Swallow a rock. See what happens. Unless you're a plant-eater dinosaur, swallowing rocks isn't going to be a good thing for you. Like you can't just hear a word and assume that it's the worst thing. Like, you need to understand where that word comes from, what it is what it means, what it's doing. Okay, and then this, like, once that gap is ingrained into them, they become very reticent to learn, since that distrust is already there. I think I'm using the word reticent, right? I'm not an English major, I'm a physics major. Actually, some of my family members are the exact same way, and it's ridiculous. It's like, no, you don't understand, and they'll try to say, well, no, I saw some things that prove otherwise, and it's like, you're not a scientist, I am, I've studied this stuff, like, why aren't you listening to me? Like, you'd rather listen to some random page online? It's like these people are weaponizing this misinformation and misunderstanding to their benefit. And like, we can't have that. But I don't want to sit here and be like, oh wow, everything's like sucks. I can offer at least this: how to be vigilant of shady devices. So look for the technobabble, meaning like EMF, radiation, energy, toxins. Oh my god, the amount of times I've seen toxins on anything. Or my favorite was organic salt that had an expiration date. Even the can said, forged over millions of years in the caverns, we bring this salt to you, expires 2023. Also, salt is a mineral, like, you can't really... Like, look for the technobabble. Because that will tell you right off the bat that you're dealing with something not so credible. And if the description is quantum, very likely to be sus, Amogus. Like, the Air's tech said it used quantum technology. No. Like, you can automatically disregard it, because quantum mechanics is still an ever-evolving field. We're still trying to figure out what it means on the scientific side of things. Like, trust me, like, some product that has like a little tiny little sticker isn't gonna protect you from that. Like, there's no way they have an understanding of quantum mechanics that a scientist won't. Organic salt, yeah, exactly. Ask specific questions on how it works. What properties of physics if there's a person selling? Wait, does anyone remember? This happened like for me in high school. Remember when like basketball players were wearing these like little bracelets with like a tiny little sticker on it, and it was supposedly like it corrected your posture and like provided you internal strength or something like that? I don't remember the name of the bracelet. I wish I did. I'm gonna look it up right now actually. But they would do this test. Hold on, I'm gonna switch over to just cam. Okay, so I remember they were doing this test where they were like, okay. They were like, okay, so I want you to put your arms out and like stand on one leg. And like they would put pressure and like move you down. And then they said, okay, now wear this bracelet that's designed to like fix your internal posture. Like it was supposedly like to make your body better. And then when you did the thing, you wouldn't move as much. And I remember in the mall calling the girl out. I was like, you're just not pushing hard enough, are you? And she's like, no, you're actually doing it. And like I was resisting. Like she said, stop resisting. I was like, nope. I was like, if it works, then you should be able to like, you should be able to push me anyways because this bracelet's gonna work, right? I should be able to move more. She was not happy with me. I mean, she was also a high schooler who was like, probably just there getting money for like whatever. But even then, I knew that there was something wrong about it. I just didn't have the capacity or like the knowledge or the vocabulary to articulate it. Let people do the dark triad questions. Oh, actually, the state fair here in town, when it comes here every summer, is... I went with a friend. A lot of pseudoscience was there. I've been to the fair before, but I've only went to the rides. But we saw the whole thing. And apparently, like, state fairs are very popular for pseudoscience. Because there was a foot bath that got rid of all the negative toxins in your body. And it was like, dude, it's just washing your feet. Like, I mean, if the water looks dirty, it's because you're not cleanly. Like, my dude, take a bath. Like, scrub. And I wanted to call that out. I don't know, I called some other girl out for something. My friends were like, oh my god, stop. I was like, no. This stuff is nonsense, and like, they're over here peddling it. I refuse. Someone asking questions. Yeah, exactly, I'm asking too many questions. It's like... But that's one thing you could do. Like, that's why I said if there's a person selling, because if it's on a website, well, you're not going to be able to talk to anybody. Like, they're just going to give you their spiel, and then you can't really do much about it unless you make a video or a stream like I'm doing. Have flip bats removed all just out of acid? Probably. I forgot what it was called. Like, this is just like anti-5G devices, but I could definitely go into other devices that are just nonsense too. But this is the Quelling Quackery is definitely going to be a segment I'm going to do regularly, and I have the other one planned already. Oh, I don't know that meme. And well, okay, so when you're talking to somebody who's selling, keep asking for clarification, and it'll show you if they know what they're selling. Like, if they say, "Oh, well, you know, it'll first it'll balance out your toxins," I'll say, "What toxins?" Though, if they say, "Well, you know, just regular toxins," I'll just say, "No. What specific type of toxins are you doing? Why is my niece screaming? I am trying to do a science stream, and she's over here taking the spotlight." Sorry, she just keeps screaming. I'm just gonna have to mute this for a quick second. Morty, I had this thing with the vat of acid. Just don't think about it, Morty. Hey, now that Justin Roiland's gone, I could be Morty. Jeez, Rick. Oh, that's a terrible Rick. Sorry, she's screaming. I think like she was denied chips or something, and she's like not having it. She's not having it. I'll just try to mute and like unmute when I need to. But yeah, like just keep asking for clarification. Like if they say it works with some technology, just say, okay, what kind of technology? Like what property of physics is it using? And like keep grilling them about it. Like, here's the thing, when it comes to the anti-science stuff, I have no shame. I will sit there and debate a person that's just selling it, even though they're just, like, there to get money. It's like, no, like, I won't make a scene necessarily, but I'll just keep grilling them, because it's like, no, you have to keep asking questions. Like, people get away with this because no one's asking questions, but also, to be fair, I also recognize that a lot of people don't have questions because they don't know how it works, whereas I'm somebody that has an understanding of such stuff. Oh my goodness. Oh jeez, Rick, please let me handle it. I admit I was wrong. Just please, Rick. Okay, so look at the company history. And what I mean by that is an unbiased rating and review from websites. So like Better Business Bureau, Department of Commerce, Globalists. These are just like the US based ones, but there's also ones in Europe as well, I'm sure. Because I mean, if you go to the company homepage, of course they're gonna sing praises about themselves, but you need to look at, okay, well, what about a neutral source? What are they saying about these products? Like, are they giving the same endorsement, or are they saying, be a little cautious? Because I mean, on your homepage you can put whatever you want and leave out the not so great stuff. But somewhere else that deals with like displaying accurate information, they have no problem with like sharing, okay, this company is great, but they also kind of did this thing where like their phones exploded and like somebody's face fell off. Yeah, like they're probably a 3 out of 5. Keep grilling them, just don't make for nice confrontation. I don't want to be unalived by the acid girl. Well, I haven't watched Rick and Morty a lot, so I don't know what that's referring to. Okay, so here's some companies to watch out for. Ares Tech for sure. One called Energy Armor. What kind of armor? What kind of energy? Energy armor, which sounds like a Warcraft thing. Magnetics Wellness, Defender Shield, Shield Your Body, and these are just the ones for anti-5G. So yeah, like these are just for the 5G market, or the anti-5G market. I mean, we haven't even talked about the organic market, the toxins market, like the medicine market. Like there's a lot. Like trust me, the Quelling Quackery segment will be around for a good while, because I can easily find material and like take my time and figure out how to go like explaining it and like debunking it. So my final thoughts are, while it seems like these scams are kind of rampant and they're all over the place, we actually can do our part to help reduce the spread. I mean, sorry, she's just like really upset. Ah, okay, I see what you mean. Okay, so questioning the product helps people think, even if for 1 second, in the buyer and seller. So that's kind of my philosophy, is like, a lot of the times I know I can't convince people on my own, but what I want to do is, for the next time another instance like this happens, somebody takes a moment and like hesitates for a bit. Like even if they don't change their minds completely, like if they decide to like if they're gonna go on their spiel to someone else, I kind of want to have a moment where they're like wait, should I? I mean, someone else might be around to like say, hey dude, that's not, what are you talking about? So I mean, for me, it's more of like getting the person who's like saying this stuff or like buying this stuff to just take a brief moment and reconsider, is this correct? Because it's just it's an initial thought that could lead somewhere else. Oh no, she's fine. She's just upset because I think we bought chips earlier that they're gonna use for a family trip, and she wanted those chips, but we denied her the chips because we're gonna save them for Friday, and she got upset. She's fine. She's just being dramatic because she wants chips. You don't need to convince someone, like if they already know how to know that. Your idea is. Yeah, like for me, it's just I'm looking for that moment where it's a brief pause for them to think, okay, am I really gonna like say this and do this thing? And just think about it for a second, because that can sometimes be enough to make them think, okay, wait, there could be something here that I should be more aware of, or like I should reconsider this for XYZ reason. Shedding light on these scams is the best method we've done under a critical lens, because if you break it down piece by piece, you're lending more credence to what you're trying to say. Like if I just came on and said like, haha, look at these 5G devices, they're dumb, ha 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 ha. It's like, this doesn't work like this. Man, these people don't know. Okay, stream's over, bye. Like, that doesn't do anything. I'm doing the exact same thing what they're doing it, but I'm just like saying it doesn't work. I'm not backing up my argument. Whereas if you're saying, hey, this thing doesn't work, and I can explain why, it sounds more it sounds much more credible, but you're also offering that critical lens where people will be like, huh, that's interesting, I didn't think of that aspect. And they may have a question like, okay, you said it didn't work this way, so why doesn't it work this way? Then you say, okay, well, they're proposing XYZ method, but it's really ABC method. And even then, they're not applying XYZ method correctly. Also, we need to hold influencers and social media platforms accountable for shilling out constantly. And these accounts need to be removed full stop. Like, the Shield Your Body, the Defender Kids, the Airs Tech, and I'm pretty sure Magnetic Wellness is also on Instagram. Like, they're all on Instagram. Like, these people are just, like, out here selling their stuff, and, like, nobody's, like... The platforms aren't doing anything because it's bringing in money and revenue. So they're just gonna let them, and they're gonna keep getting influencers that have like a ton of followers based on their appearance, their personality, what have you, shilling out these products. And most of the time, I'm pretty sure, like, well, I can't make an assumption for all influencers because I'm not an influencer, thank God. But like, I'm pretty sure a certain amount of them don't care what they're selling as long as they get a payment out of it. So while they may not support or be against the product, if someone's offering them a paycheck, I mean, you're gonna do it. Like, listen, if someone said like, hey, like if you stream this game, I'll give you like 2,000 bucks. I'll be like, okay, sure, yeah, what is it? And they're like, Orc Massage 5. For those who don't know what Orc Massage is, it's a Steam game where you are an orc and you massage people. Actually, Twitch wouldn't allow that, so it'd be banned from the start, but I get 2,000 bucks. But like, I mean, everyone has a price, like... Okay, she's almost done. Okay, so like... Yeah, like... Ask, or like, make a big stink on social media and for these influencers and tell them like, hey, what you're selling isn't good. I mean, depending on how influential they are, like, sometimes they won't do anything, but I mean, hey, listen. If we can, like, call out many different YouTubers, like, what seems like every month for something ridiculous, it'll stick eventually. I mean, 20 bucks is 20 bucks. Everyone has a price, but if the price is hard to pay, that's also another aspect of it. Let's shield that body. Well, I shield this body, and it's with Oh, did the microphone cut out? Oh, I meant to say I mean to shield my body with I think that one worked, right? Yeah. So, I mean, like, these are my final thoughts on how to channel all this and, like, combat it. And it's not just with the anti-5G stuff. Like, this is just with anything. Like, homeopathy, for one, is a very lucrative business market for, like, essentially nothing. There's the organic stuff, there's the toxins, the energies, like... Pseudoscience is not just in 5G, it's everywhere. And, well, I guess I can give you the preview of what I'm going to be tackling next. Some of you may not be happy. I have that 5G shielded and it's also known as the homeo thing already. Listen, there's homeopathy and then there's homoopathy, and I'm homopathetic. Don't take that out of context, please. So the next topic in my Quelling Quackery segment is going to be astrology, because I am an astrophysicist in theory, because I haven't gotten a job yet, but I studied astrophysics. I'm going to be tackling that next because I have a really good understanding of what astrology is and isn't. And I know for astrology a lot of people love it, but I am gonna go ham on it. Because, you know why? Because I'm a Capri Sun. I'm a Capri Sun rising and an Aquarium lunar. Oh, and here's a glossary of sources that I used. So it's all here. 5G shielded condoms would sell really well. Yeah, but the pregnancy will still get through. So yeah, like, these are the I also wanted to include sources of what I was looking at, because I didn't want to just be like, source? Dude, trust me, bro. Like, these are legitimate sources that are providing, as far as I could, like, as far as I checked, because I made sure to check each one, an unbiased take on the anti-5G market and their devices. Okay, I think my niece is gone. She already got it picked up. It's 5:36. Oh wow, perfect timing. Dutch authorities, I'm Dutch. Let's hear it for the Dutch. Let's hear it for the Dutch. They did, they have the King of Denmark. Is that correct? I'm sorry if that's not incorrect. I saw God of War playthrough, and Skildir found a coin, and I know he became the King of Denmark. No, that's Sweden. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Wait, is that... Never mind that part, I'm sorry. This is why I'm a physicist, I'm not a historian. Or a geographist. But yeah, like for sure, this is something that I definitely want to do, and I will be working on the astrology one soon. Because trust me, I can easily go into that one and do all that. But yeah, so far I have Newton's laws. I have my Quelling Quackery. I have my lessons on stars. I have the VOD. I will upload these to YouTube at some point. I just keep forgetting. And then astronomy history with Copernicus. And then I use the sci-fi film template for the Newtons. The Dutch did not do good stuff. The only word that is known by them is apartheid. Oh. Ooh. Oh. Well then. Oh, let me just... Is that extra? I'm too powerful to be affected by Mercury's retrograde. Mercury in retrograde? Is that a Gatorade flavor? Oh god, Gatorade... Mercury flavored Gatorade. No. No. If someone offers you Mercury flavored Gatorade, do not drink it. No. Also, mercury is an organic substance. You don't want to be ingesting that. So if someone tells you like, oh, you just gotta do organic substances. Okay, tell them like, okay, chug a vial of mercury, or go have a slice of uranium cake. Then you'll see how natural it really is. It'll be enough to last you your natural life of like 3.5 seconds, maybe 3.6 if you're lucky. Okay, let's see, final thoughts. Let me see. Well, I learned something today. I learned the etymology of the word stupid. I'm not calling anyone stupid, Twitch or YouTube, when I upload this. I'm not calling anyone that. I'm simply talking about the use of the word in etymology. So I learned about that, so I probably won't be using that word. Actually, I don't even think I use words like that anymore. I think I'd rather use like words like incompetent. Might I ask, what's your YouTube? I don't have it yet. I have a bunch of VODs saved from a few months ago. I just haven't gotten around to uploading them, which is bad on my part because eventually my SD is gonna fill up. At this point, I'm gonna start working on it and start uploading things little by little, and then eventually, when I'll do a command like exclamation YouTube, and then I'll have it linked there. But for the time being, I don't have it yet, and I gotta get on that, so I will eventually. Keep me to it, like keep reminding me, and so that way I can post this stuff, and if there's any highlights or clips that I can upload to Twitch, because I have a bunch of stuff that is saved on a VOD, but I never made clips of it, I can just do it there. Sounds like a reason to come back. No, I have my VODs, thankfully. It's just I just haven't uploaded them. Actually, a few games I streamed I never recorded the VODs for. But if anything, I can come back to them at some other point and just do all that. So, Shalaris, are you still here? Uranium is calorie dense. Yum. Also, fun fact, a neutron star, or a black hole is a dense object, but there is something actually much more dense than a black hole. It is me at any social gathering where I'm required to talk to people and make new friends. Nothing rivals the density that I can produce during such phenomena. I can't exactly do an experiment on myself because that would be a biased take, so. And before I go, because I have to be going soon. What? Oh, Vinny's playing Metroid Prime. Oh, that's right. He played the... Oh, because yeah. I was talking about the Nintendo Direct earlier, and, well, actually, Well, if anything, we'll be rating science streams. Listen, bro, the only thing more dense than you is us being there and not just standing routing around each other and not knowing how to talk. Yes, well, that's the thing, I haven't really mastered that yet. I'm getting there, but it'll take a while. I can understand physics, but the human interaction is still a thing that eludes me. We're gonna go rate science, because I think Shalaris is AFK. And they are a science stream as well, and they do microscopy, and they also do art, and they actually had a child recently, so he seems like he's working on art right now, so we're gonna go say hi. Good peeps, they just made partner. Woo. And I didn't even know there was a science community on Twitch, but like, since starting, we have that, so I want to branch out and get everyone versed with different types of science, because it's important to have an understanding of one thing, but jack of all trades, master of none, but better than master of some. Or no, or better to be a master of some. Wait, how does it go? Basically, it's okay if you're not exactly an expert in one thing, but if you have enough knowledge in various things, that's good too. I'll see you all Friday for Twitch Leather Pride. I have something special planned, and